son is, I do not think the founders of this country, they envisioned with military-style weapons inside our homes and schools. Probably worded the Second Amendment somewhat different, okay? But I'm a farmer, that. I grew Milo, okay? And all logs love Milo. So I asked my son, how do I control this? So she's not any other way I know other than okay? So I put there's a lot of rednecks, if that would be a good term around here, and that may be me, I don't know. But they're going to have a hard time supporting someone that wants to come take their weapon. And I know during the presidential debate, and I know that you were at a time feeling emotional over what had happened in your community of Odessa. Go ahead and say it. How do you respond to my son, who is a 30-year-old hunter, who is concerned about your wanting to confiscate weapons?
I appreciate the question, and I hope you'll share my answer with your son.
I invite you to come.
First and foremost, I want to make sure that we protect that Second Amendment right. And most of us here, most of us in Texas, grew up with firearms. I'm no different. I was sharing with the congressman, my great uncle was the jail captain at the El Paso County Jail, as a sheriff's deputy. And he taught me and my two sisters how to shoot, but he also taught us the responsibility of owning and using a firearm, something that we take very seriously, and something that Amy and I have shared with our three kids. I want to make sure that for hunting, for self-defense, for sport, for taking care of these feral hogs, the government's not in your business, and you're able to do that without a problem. I do think there are some common sense policies that we can adopt that will make it a lot safer for everybody, like a universal background check, which would have saved the people in Midland, Odessa, 8 of whom were killed by gunmen about 2 years ago with one of these military-style weapons. He couldn't have passed the background check at the gun store, so he did a private sale out of someone's trunk. If we said universal background checks for everyone, we probably could have stopped those murders. And in fact, I met the sister of one of the murdered men last night when we were in Odessa. I think that we can have a respectful conversation on the AR-15 and AK-47. As you mentioned, those were weapons initially designed for use in combat. That was brought home to me. I was in Wichita Falls, and at the end of the town hall meeting a couple of years ago, this was after the, I think it was after the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school shooting, a Vietnam veteran approached me, and he said the person who just conducted that shooting in that high school was using a weapon not unlike the one that I used in Vietnam. And he said he has no business using that, especially against defenseless kids. I think we can all agree that we don't have to worry about being shot by a weapon of war in a movie theater, in a grocery store, as 23 people were killed in El Paso, in a church like Sutherland Springs, or any public place. My proposal is that we stop selling them and that we buy back those that exist. I think reasonable people can disagree on this, and I think your son would make a very good case right now that one of the best ways to attack those feral hogs that are compromising your crops is through an AR-15. So I want to bring that approach as governor to Texas. I'm under no illusion that a Republican majority state legislature is going to pursue a mandatory buyback or pursue an assault weapons ban. But what I do think we can find common ground on is a universal background check, maybe an extreme risk protection order, maybe safe storage of our firearms so that our kids can't get their hands on them. It's a proposal from one of the mothers whose daughter was killed at Santa Fe High School in Galveston County. So I think there's a way to move forward and respect each other's point of view and experience and opinion, but ensure that we don't accept what is happening in Texas, which is a unconscionable loss of life. 4 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history have taken place in this state just in the last 5 years. And as you know, and you alluded to this, when you lose 23 people in your hometown in just one shooting in one day over a matter of minutes, because that machine was designed to do just that. It really changes how you see this. And I feel very accountable to those survivors who approached me afterwards and said, Beto, I sure hope that we can count on you to do something about this and not accept this. So the only way we're going to move forward is by listening to one another, finding common ground, and then taking the best steps forward. And I hope to be able to do that with your son and others.
And I want you to know that I agree with everything you said. When I walked up there to buy that AR-15, the guy said, here, look at it. I said, I don't even want to touch it, okay? I'm not a guns person, okay? But I needed to protect that crop. But how are you going to overcome the statement that you made during the presidential debate? Because that's all my son heard.
Right. I hope, well, I would like your help first and foremost.
I tried.
And I think that's why we gather like this, because it's one thing if Beto O'Rourke says this. It's quite another thing if it's your neighbor, your family member, your friend, whom you trust, who says, look, you may disagree with Beto on AR-15s and AK-47s, but he's going to absolutely defend your right to a firearm for hunting, for self-defense, for protection, for sport, for collection, for whatever. That's your business, not the government's. But we've got to have some common sense solutions to keep each other safe. And I cannot tell you how many AR-15 owners have approached me and said, look, I'm a Republican, I disagree with you on a lot of other things, but like you just said, I don't need this. I like it, it's fun to shoot, but I don't really need it. Or they'll tell me I have grandkids in school and I'm worried about them surviving the school day, given the number of shootings that we have in our schools. So I trust Texans that there's enough mutual concern about what's happening and enough wisdom and experience and expertise to do better than what we've done already. And I'll continue to talk with and answer questions from people about this. I think that's the only way you can get there. And then you also just have to accept at some point we're going to disagree on some things. And that's what makes this democracy so special. We can disagree, but they will find enough common ground to move forward at the end of the day. Anyhow, thank you for asking. Appreciate it.